Hello and welcome. On the news, famine looms in northern Gaza, says report. Israel to send back some Palestinian patients to Gaza. Kim oversees large rocket drills in North Korea. Japan makes historic end to negative interest rate, and Haiti turmoil worries diaspora. Stay with me for this and more stories. On Israel-Gaza conflict, United Nations-backed report said on Monday that in northern Gaza, famine looms where 70% of the population are already suffering with appalling levels of hunger, as the EU's top diplomats accuse Israel of using starvation as a weapon of war. All 2.2 million people in Gaza do not have sufficient food to eat, with half of the population on the brink of starvation, and famine projected to arrive in the north anytime between mid-March and May 2024, according to the Integrated Food Security Phase Classification, IPC. Severe hunger and malnutrition have already far exceeded the threshold for famine in northern Gaza, and the IPC warns of a major acceleration of death and malnutrition. This is the highest number of people facing catastrophic hunger ever recorded anywhere, anytime by the IPC, said United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres. According to the Ministry of Health in Gaza, no less than 25 people, including children and babies, have died from starvation and dehydration in the north. People have resorted to hunting, eating grass and animal feed, and drinking polluted water. Starving mothers are unable to produce enough milk to feed their babies, and parents beg for infant formula at overwhelmed health facilities, parents and doctors said, according to reports. The crunch has been described as entirely man-made and preventable due to Israel's throttling of aid and widespread destruction of Gaza. The report said famine conditions will spread unless there is an immediate cessation of hostilities and full aid access granted to the Strip. World Food Programme Executive Director Cindy McCain, people in Gaza are starving to death right now. The speed at which this man-made hunger and malnutrition crisis has ripped through Gaza is terrifying, she said. There is a very small window left to prevent an outright famine, and to do that, we need immediate and full access to the north. If we wait until famine has been declared, it's too late. Thousands more will be dead. The European Union's top diplomat, Josep Borrell, accused Israel of using starvation as a weapon of war, saying the famine was not a natural disaster, but caused by Israel preventing humanitarian support entry into Gaza. Hundreds of trucks were waiting at the border and being prevented entry into Gaza by Israel, he said. The support is there waiting. Trucks have stopped. People are dying, Borrell said. Aid delivery by sea and air was only necessary because the natural way of delivering aid by land was artificially closed by Israel, he added. The World Food Programme estimates that at least 300 trucks are needed to enter Gaza every day and distribute food to meet only the basic hunger needs. The United Nations agency has only managed to take 9 convoys into northern Gaza since the beginning of the year, it said in a statement. A ceasefire remains the only way for agencies such as the WFP to roll out a massive relief operation reaching all the communities in need, it said. Sticking to Israel-Gaza conflict, Israeli authorities are getting ready to send a group of Palestinian patients who were being treated in East Jerusalem hospitals back to Gaza this week. According to hospital officials, the group of 22 Gazan Palestinians includes 5 newborn babies and their mothers, cancer patients now in remission, and a few companions who had accompanied them. They had all received permission from Israeli authorities to travel to Israeli-occupied East Jerusalem for advanced medical care, most before Hamas's October 7 attack on Israel. The Israeli Defense Ministry body responsible for Palestinian affairs, Hokat, has for months been pushing East Jerusalem hospital officials for a list of patients who no longer require inpatient medical treatment to send them back to Gaza, those officials said, according to report. The patients on that list are anticipated to board buses for the Kerem Shalom crossing on the border between Israel and Gaza on Wednesday. Among them will be Nima Abu Gurara, who was brought from Rafah to East Jerusalem pregnant with twins and gave birth on October 5th. Since then, all her twins have known is the safety of a room at Makast Hospital. Soon that will be torn away, traded for the reality of the war. Away from Israel-Gaza conflict, now Kim Jong-un, North Korean leader, has overseen live-fire exercises involving newly equipped super-large multiple rocket launchers a day after South Korea and Japan reported the country's launch of several short-range ballistic missiles, its first such a test in about 2 months. According to reports, the drills were meant at testing the real-world capabilities of 600mm 23 inches multiple rocket launchers. The exercises also involved simulating an aerial explosion of a shell at a predetermined altitude above the aim, report said. Kim, who has overseen several tests in recent years as he pursues his plan to modernize North Korea's military, said the rocket launchers will provide the core central striking means in war preparations. On Monday, Seoul's military announced it had detected the launch of multiple short-range ballistic missiles from North Korea. According to a report, the super-large multiple rocket launcher referred to KN-25 by Seoul and Washington is a short-range ballistic missile. North Korea is barred from testing ballistic missiles under long-running sanctions over its nuclear weapons program. The Kim regime's one-upmanship aims to show strength to its domestic audience, suggests cost on the Korean peninsula for Seoul's international security cooperation, and warned Washington against increasing pressure on Pyongyang. Leif Erik Isley, a professor at Ewha University in Seoul, wrote in email comments about the latest test. Pyongyang has broken with much of its inter-Korean policy in recent years, scrapping a military pact with its neighbor and declaring South Korea a hostile enemy state. It has also ramped up weapons testing, launched a submarine, and put its first spy satellite into space. Kim has also ramped up his rhetoric, talking about war preparations and readiness. When asked about the threat posed by the multiple rocket launchers, Seoul's defense minister Shin Wok-sik said that if Pyongyang fires a large number of conventional missiles against South Korea, it will constitute a war and prompt strong retaliatory attacks. Monday's ballistic missile test was North Korea's second this year after Pyongyang launched one it said was tipped with a maneuverable hypersonic warhead on January 14th. Now on economy, Japan has ended its negative interest rate policy, marking a historic shift away from an aggressive monetary facilitation program that was implemented years ago to fight chronic deflation. The Bank of Japan BOJ raised its short-term interest rates to a tight range from around 0 to 0.1%, up from minus 0.1% as part of the decision, according to a statement posted on its website on Tuesday. Recent data and anecdotal information have shown that the virtuous cycle between wages and prices has become more solid. It added, the BOJ has battled deflation since the late 1990s. Over the years, it has sought to encourage prices to rise by using a combination of conventional and unconventional monetary policies, including zero or negative interest rates and large-scale asset purchases. But as inflation rose and interest rates elsewhere went up, pressure has grown up on the BOJ to wind down its negative interest rate policy, NIRP. Major unions and companies, including Toyota TM, last week announced better than expected wages hikes. Central bankers had been saying they wanted to see robust growth in wages before they can start to normalize interest rates. Though small, the landmark interest rate surge was the first in 17 years. Until Tuesday, the BOJ had been the last central bank in the world to employ negative interest rates. Morgan Stanley analysts said on Tuesday in a research note that the Bank of Japan has today ended an era of exceptional monetary policy accommodation. This can be characterized as a virtuous cycle of rising nominal GDP growth, wages, prices, and corporate profits. As part of its exit from NIRP, the BOJ also announced that it will abandon its yield curve control YCC policy, which was introduced in 2016 to keep the yield on 10-year Japanese government bonds around 0% to maintain accommodative financial conditions. Meanwhile, it will end purchases of exchange-traded funds and Japanese real estate investments trusts. Japan's benchmark Nikkei 225 index has been seesawing between gains and losses. It reversed morning losses to trade higher after the news of the rate and then slipped into negative territory again. By 2:50 p.m. local Tokyo time, the index was up to 0.3%. The broader topics index was 0.7% higher. For the past 6 months, the head of Maison de Haiti Community Center in Montreal's St. Michael neighborhood has received a wave of unsolicited messages from Haitians pleading for help to leave the country. But this month, Haiti's years-long turmoil reached a fresh peak of political instability and violence. Powerful armed groups have maintained their hold on the capital, Port-au-Prince, after the resignation of Prime Minister Ariel Henry last week, and a shaky political transition is underway. The attacks have paralyzed Port-au-Prince. Over 360,000 people have been displaced, and the country faces a deepening hunger crunch. For Haitians living outside of the Caribbean nation, the unrest has fueled a sense of fear and anxiety over the safety of their loved ones back home. It has also spurred growing frustrations over the inability to get family members out of harm's way, as well as calls to action. Meanwhile, the international airport in Port-au-Prince has been closed amid the violence, and the Dominican Republic, which shares the island of Hispaniola with Haiti, has largely sealed its land border too. Haitians have migrated to other parts of the Americas region and further afield for many decades. Some left in search of better employment opportunities or education, while others were pushed out due to natural disasters, political instability, and increasingly violence wrought by armed groups. Today, there are large Haitian communities in the Dominican Republic, Chile, and Brazil, among other countries in Central and South America, as well as in Canada, which is home to nearly 180,000 people of Haitian descent. But the largest Haitian diaspora is in the United States, where U.S. Census figures show that over 1.1 million people identified as Haitian in 2022. Tessa Petit, the executive director of the Florida Immigrant Coalition, FLIC, a coalition of dozens of community and advocacy groups in the southeastern U.S. states, said, "We're all connected. I think that every Haitian immigrant is somewhat connected to Haitians in Haiti." Florida counts the largest Haitian community in the country, followed by New York City. Petit said Haitians in Florida have strong ties to communities in Haiti, and they have been watching the latest developments in Port-au-Prince with alarm over the past several weeks. On more stories, report says Asia's most polluted cities impact the world. According to a latest report, all but one of 100 cities with the world's worst air pollution last year were in Asia, with the climate crisis playing a pivotal role in bad air quality that is risking the health of billions of people worldwide. The vast majority of the cities, 83, were in India and all surpassed the World Health Organization's air quality guidelines by over 10 times, according to reports by IQ Air, which tracks air quality worldwide. The study looked precisely at fine particulate matter, or PM2.5, which is the tiniest pollutant but also the most dangerous. Only 9% of over 7,800 cities analyzed globally recorded air quality that met WHO's standard, which says average annual levels of PM2.5 should not exceed 5 micrograms per cubic meter. When inhaled, PM2.5 travels deep into lung tissue where it can enter the bloodstream. It comes from sources like the combustion of fossil fuels, dust storms, and wildfires, and has been linked to asthma, heart and lung diseases, cancer, and other respiratory illnesses, as well as cognitive impairment in children. Bugasarai, a city of 500,000 people in northern India's Bihar state, was the world's most polluted city last year, with an average yearly PM2.5 concentration of 118.9, 23 times the World Health Organization guidelines. It was followed by the IQ Air rankings by the Indian cities of Guwahati, Assam, Delhi, and Mulampur, Punjab. According to the report, across India, 1.3 billion people, or 96% of the population, live with air quality 7 times higher than WHO guidelines. Central and South Asia were the worst performing regions globally, home to all 4 of the most polluted countries last year: Bangladesh, Pakistan, India, and Tajikistan. South Asia is of particular concern, with 29 of the 30 30 most polluted cities in India, Pakistan, or Bangladesh. The report ranked the major population centers of Lahore in 5th, New Delhi in 6th, and Dhaka in 24th place. Hamid said no significant improvement in pollution levels in the region is likely without major changes in terms of the energy infrastructure and agricultural practices. In the shores of Africa, Gambian lawmakers delay FGM ban debate. A trial to revoke a 2015 ban on female genital cutting in Gambia was sent for further committee deliberations by lawmakers on Monday. Gambian activists fear the passage of the bill will overturn years of work to better protect girls and women. The legislation was referred to a national committee for further debate and could return to a vote in the weeks and months ahead. Activists in the largely Muslim country had cautioned that lifting the ban will hurt years of work against a procedure often performed on girls under age 5 in the mistaken belief that it will control their sexuality. The procedure, which also has been called female genital mutilation, includes the incomplete or full removal of external genitalia, often by traditional community practitioners with tools such as razor blades or at times by health workers. It can cause severe bleeding, death and childbirth complications, but remains the widespread practice in parts of Africa. Jahad Dukeri, the founder of Safe Hands for Girls, a local group that targets to end the practice, said according to report that she is worried that other laws safeguarding women's rights could be repealed next. Dukeri underwent the procedure and watched her sister bleed to death. The United Nations has projected that over half of women and girls ages 15 to 49 in Gambia have undergone the procedure. The bill is backed by religious conservatives in the nation of less than 3 million people. Its text says that it seeks to uphold religious purity and safeguard cultural norms and values. The country's top Islamic body has called the practice one of the virtues of Islam. In just a moment, I'll bring you more stories, particularly from Nigeria. Don't go anywhere. Okay, welcome back. Now, stories from Nigeria on rising insecurity. Kaduna State panic unrest as bandits abduct 87 in fresh attack. Just 48 hours after attacking Dogon Noma Ungwan community and abducting 14 residents, again bandits have attacked Kajuru Station community in Kajuru local government area of Kaduna State, kidnapping no less than 87 persons. The bandits were also said to have attacked and looted nearby shops and made away with goods. On Sunday at about 10 p.m. the attack took place when numerous of the residents were already asleep and others about going to bed. Mansour Hassan, the Kaduna State Police Command spokesman, and the state's Ministry of Internal Security and Home Affairs were yet to respond to the fresh attack earlier. However, a youth leader in the area who confirmed the incident said the bandits also broke into some shops and stole food items and other valuables, adding that the gangsters invaded the village around 10 p.m. Also, the chairman of Kajuru local government area, Ibrahim Gajeri, confirmed the attack, saying that the bandits made away with many residents. He disclosed that the constant attacks on Kajuru have left many residents in fear and not knowing what to do next. Following the fresh wave of attacks, especially in Chukun and Kajuru local government areas, the Chief of Defense Staff, General Christopher Musa, has also arrived the state to confer with Governor Uba Sani on the way forward towards ending the spate of attacks. Kajuru and Chikun local government areas had in the past 2 weeks become the center of kidnapping, stoking fear and tension across the state. Still on insecurity, Army Delta community clash over soldiers' death. On Monday, the Nigerian Army said that the Ukoma community in the Ugeli South local government area of Delta State, where military personnel were killed, had resorted to propaganda. According to reports, it denied any form of reprisal on the community, that about 20 suspects had been apprehended. The Defense Headquarters also on Monday released the names of the Army personnel who were killed on Thursday during a peace mission to Okoma. The military slammed the community and emphasized that no amount of propaganda will stop culprits from being nabbed, while the Defense Headquarters promised that there will be injurious consequences. A community leader who spoke on condition of anonymity accused the military of carrying out mass arrests and killings. He cautioned that the actions of the soldiers could lead to a repeat of the OD incident. In 1999, the army attacked OD town in Bayelsa State after some soldiers were killed in the community. Accusing the military, the community leader alleged that soldiers had begun aiming innocent civilians in the community rather than going after the miscreants who committed the crime. Also, there were reports on Monday that soldiers deployed in Okoma resorted to burning houses as residents fled the community. At least 17 military personnel were killed by irate youths during a communal clash over a land dispute in Bomadi and Okoma communities in Delta State on Thursday. The personnel attached to the 181 Amphibious Battalion were responding to a distress call when they were ambushed and killed on Thursday. Many residents of Okoma in the Ugeli South local government area of Okolaba in the Bomadi local government area of Delta State fled the communities on Friday as soldiers took over the area and reportedly set some houses ablaze in reaction to the killing of 16 soldiers, including senior officers. Late on Saturday, it was reported that the bodies of the soldiers were recovered by soldiers of the Joint Task Force under the supervision of the General Officer commanding 6th Division Nigerian Army, Major General Jamal Abdul Salam, at the Okoma community. Away from insecurity matters, and finally on the news, SANU NASU strikes halt varsity operations. Yesterday, academic activities were interrupted in university campuses across the country following the 7-day warning strike embarked by the Senior Staff Association of Nigerian Universities, SANU, and the non-academic staff of Union NASU. The two unions started a nationwide strike over what they described as unfair treatment and disparity in the payment of withheld salaries by the federal government. The Joint Action Committee (JAC) of NASU and SANU had issued a circular to its members to commence a 7-day warning strike over non-payment of salaries as approved by the President Bola Tinubu. The 4 months withheld salaries arose from the nationwide strike embarked upon by all unions in the public universities in the country. The unions had embarked on an 8-month strike in 2022 to press home some of their demands, including a better welfare package. The administration of then-President Muhammadu Buhari subsequently invoked a no-work, no-pay policy against the unions, but Tinubu last October approved the release of 4 of the 8 months withheld salaries of ASU members. Mohammed Ibrahim, the SANU leader, had criticized the federal government for paying withheld salaries to ASU while ignoring other unions like SANU and NASU. He said his members, including vice-chancellors, registrars and bosses, have not been paid the 2022 arrears. According to reports, the strike affected some ongoing examinations in some campuses. At the University of Nigeria, Nsukka UNN, the Enugu campus students were writing examinations earlier were allowed to finish, while those who started their afternoon papers were chased out of the classrooms and stopped from writing the exams. The striking members also closed many offices, including Students' Affairs and others. Some of the students lamented the negative effects of the strike in their studies. Another look at the top stories. Famine looms in northern Gaza, says report. Israel to send back some Palestinian patients to Gaza. Kim oversees large rocket drills in North Korea. Japan makes historic end to negative interest rate, and Haiti turmoil worries diasporas. And that's all on the news. Thanks for watching. I am Lois Dureki.